Welcome to Le Mans. We're ready for the start of the 2009 24 du Mans. It's the centenary of the ACO, the Automobile Club de l'Ouest, that organises the world's greatest endurance festival. And for this weekend, we are, of course, in the southernmost county of Great Britain, the Département de la Sarthe. Hello, everybody. Welcome to live, uninterrupted and exclusive coverage of the Le Mans 24 Hours on Eurosport, Eurosport 2 and Eurosport Player. For those of you that do not get Eurosport 2, Eurosport Player is your option when we move off to do other things on the main Eurosport network. It is hot and sunny here in Le Mans for the first time this weekend, and it's a Peugeot that sits on pole. Stéphane Sarrazin, the man who set the fastest time in practice, even though apparently neither Peugeot nor Audi teams were actually shooting for pole position. We had a chance to catch up with Stéphane Sarrazin and the amiable Frenchman, race driver, rally driver, and now hopeful Le Mans expectant.
The starting grid of Le Mans, we have the chance to be with the poleman Stéphane Sarrazin. Stéphane, vous avez fait un temps incroyable hier, Paul, plutôt content j'imagine.
Ouais, c'est clair, ça fait plaisir d'être en pole.
Justine talking to Stéphane Sarrazin, saying great time, you're very happy. Yes, the car's been very good, we're well prepared for this race. We're going to start in front of the Audis. Obviously, for 24 hours we will try and stay there. The big question, why aren't you starting? Well, we got three good drivers. I did the qualifying lap, so it's somebody else's turn. Franck Montagny will be the man who starts. Pit lane is now closed. There are no cars remaining in the garages, so everyone is on the grid. What about the battle? It's going to be tough to beat Audi. You think you can win it? Oh yeah. It is going to be a hard fight, no question. It'll go all 24 hours. We'll be fighting 100%.
Merci Stéphane, on reviendra vous voir dans le
weekend.
Merci
if luck is with us, well, we'll catch up with Stéphane Sarrazin during the weekend.
We'll be with Sebastian Tiffer with us during all the weekend, trying to get the most interviews of all the drivers. Enjoy the weekend of les 24 Heures du Mans.
So Justine and Sebastian will be with us on the grid and through the 24 hours in the pit lane as well. We've got a lot of coverage to get through. Going to take a quick commercial break, the first of this first broadcast of 24 hours of Le Mans 2009. Stay with us. Well, welcome back to Le Mans. We're building up to the start of the great race at 3 o'clock Central European time, 2 British Summer Time, 1 GMT. And of course, the defending champions are here. Audi with last year's winning team, Dindo Capello, Alan McNish, and the most successful driver ever at Le Mans in terms of victories, Tom Christensen. He's going for win number 9 here. Audi have won 8 times in the last 10 years. And one of those missing years was their first. The other, of course, they won with Bentley.
Hi, Tom. I'm sure it's always an exciting moment to get this start.
Yeah, it's another Le Mans is starting, and obviously that's the highlight of any motorsport year. So it's another one, and it's great. So many fans, so many people, so many TV. So a lot of focus is now on the motorsport world here in Le Mans again.
It's always very emotional, even if you won already 8 times, so you're going for the 9th one.
Yeah, I mean, this year the approach is different. We have a new Audi R15. So the previous years we have run with something we know which was very reliable, but not necessarily fast enough. Now we for sure have something faster, but we haven't yet tackled Le Mans. So in that sense, we are of course very focused on hopefully we can get this job done again.
When are you going to drive?
Just before it gets dark, I think.
Thank you, Tom, Mr. Le Mans.
Merci, thank you.
Well, we've got the other Mr. Le Mans next door to us, Mark Cole, starting the race with our French colleagues, Jackie Ickx, of course, and we'll hope to have a word with him later. Mark Cole and Liz Halliday ready here to start the great race. If we ever get through these pre-race interviews, good grief. Patrick Dempsey, of course, part of the lineup here in this Seattle Racing Ferrari, raising money for charity. And Patrick Dempsey, for those of you like us that don't watch the television, apparently is a thesp.
Patrick, first time in Le Mans, the race is starting.
Oh, it's unbelievable. We were just talking about what an unbelievable week it's been. Jeez. It's been a long week in many ways. In many ways, it goes by so quickly. It was an extraordinary day in the parade to be a part of that. And the response from everyone here, from the town of Le Mans, my fellow drivers, the support and goodwill has been overwhelming.
Yeah. Before you, we had Steve McQueen doing this. So right. It's such a legend. You're going to be a legend, I'm sure.
That's very nice. I mean, we're just starting the race, so I had a good practice this morning. It's the best I felt in the car. I'm starting to get a rhythm with the car. I'm starting to feel really comfortable with the car. Hopefully in the first stint that continues and we have a good, safe race.
Yeah, and I'm sure now it's more quiet for you because the race is starting and the most piece where it's quiet is the car.
Yeah, it's starting to calm down a little bit, and it's much easier when you're in the car. You have some solitude, which is really nice. But it's been such an incredible experience. It's one of those things that you're never the same after it, I think, in many ways. So I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Patrick, and have a good race.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Well, Patrick Dempsey, arch car fan, but also from our heat correspondent Liz Halliday, we believe he's in some medical drama of some kind, is he?
yeah. For our older commentator here that doesn't watch TV, yes,
is he
of course.
In a popular beat combo?
I'm quite confident that every single person probably watching Eurosport right now has seen him in Grey's Anatomy. Anyway, Patrick's a lovely guy, really dedicated to his motorsport, and he just wants to be here to focus on driving and doing the best that he can, really. And I think he'd really like to make this a big part of his career, his motorsport. So we wish him all the luck, and I think he's going to have a wonderful time in his first Le Mans.
Well, he's certainly, as you know, if you can remember from your first Le Mans, he's had a bit of a baptism, hasn't he? There's no easy way of easing yourself into Le Mans. It's just such a big thing for a driver to do first time. Yeah,
it's just such a huge experience, and you're so aware of the history of what Le Mans is, and you sort of first set out onto the Mulsanne straight, and you think, my God, I've arrived. It's really happening, and it's just incredible. So, just thinking back to my first stint at Le Mans, I'm feeling the excitement for the 30 rookie drivers that we have here today. I think they're going to have an amazing time, and the sun is shining, which always makes it easier for their first stint out. And hopefully, as the race goes on, they're all going to settle in and get used to the traffic and what Le Mans is.
So, Mark, for us, it's the 70. Well, not for us. It's the 77th. It's the 77th running of this race. And after last year's absolute epic race between Peugeot and Audi, it does not look as though this is going to be any less exciting.
No, it feels like the 77th, doesn't it, for us? But 258,000 spectators last year, more this year. The ACO is telling us all the tribunes, the grandstand seats were sold out in March. They've built more tribunes. One little thing, Tom Christensen, we heard from a few minutes ago, he was invited to one of the Danish enclaves the other night, campsite. 9,000 Danes in that campsite, but 25,000 Danes in all and 75,000 British. That's the figures we're getting. That shows just the scale of this race. This is a global event. Jackie Ickx, as you say, next door to us in the cabin. He's the man who not grudgingly gave up his crown to Tom Christensen. Can Tom make it 9?
Well, there's not much Jackie could have done unless he started racing again, was there? 6 times a winner at Le Mans in 3 different manufacturers' entries. But Tom Christensen is certainly the man with the charm here at the moment. More in a moment. Welcome back live to Le Mans. You're looking at the Peugeot HDI on the grids. They are dominant in terms of pace here. Audi struggling to stay with the Peugeot, but there is a good battle behind the diesel engine cars as well. The petrol engine cars, the Orica AIM chassis. Hugues de Schoenack bought up Courage and has got AIM engines from Japan in the back of the car, and they are facing up to, of course, the Lola Coupes, the Lola Aston Martins, the Ginetta Zytecs, and a whole host of others. Let's catch up with Bruno Senna on the grid.
Bruno, I'm sure it's one of the most exciting moments in your career, maybe.
I guess it's amazing. I was in the grid just before the formation laps, and the environment is amazing. Everybody's cheering, everybody's so excited about the race. So, well, I'm looking forward to my time to drive the car and see what I can do to make the team go forward.
So when are you going to drive?
I'm on the second stint. So Stefan does the first part of the race, I do the second, Thiago comes third, and then we repeat that sequence until the end of the race, if nothing goes wrong.
Do you feel confident now with the car, with the track, everything?
I think so. We have a great team. Technically, Orica is extremely competent, and we have been analyzing the data, and I think the circuit is going to come to us nicely from what we predict in terms of setup. So, it's just wait and see. We can play it by the rules a little bit, and hopefully we can overtake a few cars in front of us.
Thank you, Bruno. Good luck, and I hope next year you're going to have an in French interview.
Okay, 55 cars then lined up on the grid here for the start of the 77th Le Mans, but we've got a problem already. The number 14 Collis Audi, which was qualified in 14th place. That car was qualified by new team draftee Andre Lotre, Narthayan Karthikeyan, the Indian driver who dislocated his shoulder before the first race at Barcelona, couldn't take part after a karting accident. We've just heard, Martin, he's dislocated his shoulder again and will not be taking the start. Whether or not that means he's not going to race, we don't know.
Well, I'm sure that the Audi team physios, not necessarily Collis Audi, but certainly Eurosport Audi physios will be working on him if they can. But anybody who's had a dislocated shoulder, and Liz, you've had shoulder surgery from equine accidents, it's not exactly the quickest thing to get over. You can pop it in, but that doesn't make it strong and it doesn't stop it hurting. So in terms of being able to sit in a prototype and hustle it round Le Mans, I think that's a pretty tall order, wouldn't you?
Well, I think the difficult thing is going to be, is the G-forces he's going to be dealing with, the extreme braking forces you have at Le Mans, which is much more than you would find at any other circuit. So I think that's going to be a big question for him, whether or not he's going to be able to have the belts across his shoulders, causing that strain on him, and also whether or not he's going to be able to hold the car. I mean, granted, we have power steering, but there's a lot of G-force being generated by these cars sort of through the Porsche curves and a lot of the corners on this track. So it's going to be a big question. No doubt, I'm sure he'll do everything he can, as well will Audi, to try and get him on circuit. And I trust that he will do the sensible thing if he feels he can't drive, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, of course, there are 3 drivers in each car, and the basic rules are that no driver may drive more than 14 hours in total. But that does allow, obviously, if they go to the ACO and say, look, this guy is properly injured, there are no reserve drivers, no other drivers have been qualified by any teams. That's not the way it works. As the cars are rolled away.
This is the last appearance, by the way, by race director Daniel Poitrenaud. He changes jobs, will be going to Asia to run the Le Mans Asian Series. So this is his final appearance as race director at Le Mans. It's a motive moment for him as the Peugeot of Stefan Sarrazin onboard camera we have with him leads the field off. This is the number 2 Audi onboard camera with that, and the starting driver for this car is
that's Rocky, Mike Rockenfeller,
Rocky
starting that one. Alex Premar starting the number 3 car. Alan McNish on the front row of the Gros starting row number 1. Yeah, Liz is just rubbing her arm. We've all got goosebumps, Liz. It's not just in the race suits in the heat of the afternoon that you get that chill. It's everywhere here. The car's rolling around, and well, over 200,000 spectators. And Liz, you were talking to me earlier about when you come out of the Ford chicane on the first lap, and what do you see?
Oh, it's just incredible. I mean, doing the start of Le Mans is probably the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. You come around the Ford chicane and you just see a wall of people all screaming and cheering, and it just goes on forever, and you think, my God, I'm really starting Le Mans. And it's an incredible feeling, and I think I'm getting excited here just watching it from up here in our little skybox. Wishing I was in a car, obviously, but it's the next best thing, and it's just really cool.
Well, there's our starter of honour waving to the crowd, the president of Ferrari SPA, of course, Luca de Montezemolo, and 60 years since Ferrari won here at Le Mans for the first time. So no, not for the first time, when they won in 1949. Yes,
that was the first win. Yeah, and of course, again this morning, those who saw the Legends race saw Ferrari win that outright. So that was a big fillet for Luca de Montezemolo. Can they now beat Porsche in GT2? That's the question. But leading the field, that Audi pace car, that's a bragging right thing. Last year's winners get the chance to provide the safety car for the next year's race. So will it be Audi or Peugeot next year?
I wonder how Cadillac managed to provide a safety car. That must have been a recent rule change.
So at 3 o'clock we'll find out tomorrow afternoon, won't we?
It certainly will. So this year it's an Audi R8. Next year it could be a 309 diesel. Who can say? So the field rolls round then, and we are anticipating with very great eagerness the sort of titanic clash that last year's race produced, with one of the closest genuine racing finishes ever. There have been closer finishes between cars, more often than not staged between two mates. Luca de Montezemolo, the president of Ferrari, the Prime Minister of France, there with him on the podium. So they are wheeling out the various big guns. And Luca, well, never really came racing here, was much more always concerned with Ferrari's Formula One team, of course, through the 70s, 80s, and still to the present day. But you can't be involved in racing without having just some feeling for what Le Mans is all about.
Yeah, let's just pick up on you said about the French Prime Minister, François Fillon. Of course, he is a Ferrari racer in his own right in the Classic. He is the MP for this region, has a Welsh wife, and he is very, very much a Le Mans 24-hour supporter. And I think his input into the French government ensuring this is still the principal event in France.
I can't really think of a parallel in the UK of what sporting of Wimbledon. It would be like somebody saying, do you know what, I don't think we'll bother with Wimbledon anymore. That sort of thing. Or we won't bother having, you know, the Ashes test with Australia. That's the sort of prestige that it conveys. There are really only 3 motor races anybody knows of. Monaco Grand Prix, Indy 500, 24 hours of Le Mans. You can go to almost any street in any country, and if, you know, you say Le Mans, they'll know the name, even if they don't really see the race or grasp the concept. So, Liz, you know, sitting here on the grid, you are every year a part of a phenomenal history, and that's not lost on anyone, particularly in this last few minutes of build-up when all of that nervous energy is just knotted inside everybody's stomach.
Well, I think that's what makes Le Mans so special is the history that goes with it and the extreme fans that you get with it. I mean, the fans that you see at Le Mans are not like what I've seen at any other racetrack in my life. I mean, they are truly dedicated to being here and to loving the motorsport and just loving the circuit for what it is. And I think that's a big part of what makes Le Mans so special.
Big banners there we just saw for Luca de Montezemolo. It said, forget Ferrari, forget Formula One, come back to Le Mans.
Well, you see him playing to the crowd, don't you? Unfortunately, of course, this week Ferrari have unconditionally entered next year's Formula One World Championship. It remains to be seen exactly whose entries are finally confirmed. But look at the weather, Mark. Wednesday, for those who are watching, 6 hours of wet, dreary, cold, miserable running, told everybody nothing. Thursday, it was a bit warmer, and here we are on Saturday morning. Last night, we sat outside. Nobody really thought we were going to get temperatures in the mid to high 20s, and yet here we are. It looks as beautiful as ever.
30 degrees on the grid just before I came up. That's how warm it is down there, just standing in that concrete cabin. The track, of course, even longer. Liz, the other thing about Le Mans, it's the longest track in the world for road racing. I mean, look how long this formation lap's taking. How can you learn every corner of this track as a race driver?
I think a lot of these drivers this week, especially because they've not had the previous test weekend, we've got a lot of rookie drivers. A lot of these drivers are going to be learning this track throughout their stints. That's going to be a big part of it. I think the more you go, the more you settle into how you need to drive the track. But it is a very long circuit. It takes some getting used to. But the one good thing is at least you get a bit of a rest.
And as a driver, for you, which is the most difficult part of the circuit?
I think the most difficult place to gain time and the easiest place to lose it is the Porsche curbs.
That's what everyone else says.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is where I've found the most time.
So we are getting ready for the start of this race at 3 o'clock. We're just moments away. Cars on the warm-up lap at Le Mans, the evocative sight as they wend their way down through the countryside, as they have done for nearly a century, from Arnage back towards the city of Le Mans. In the early days, they drove right down into the city around a hairpin, a Pont-Lieu, and back out on public roads. Now that run through the traffic has fairly wisely been diverted around part of the Bugatti circuit, the permanent facility here. But for the greater part, it is still a public road race. White lines, drains, trees, ditches, grass verges, cambers, all sorts of hazards to trap the unwary. And that is why Le Mans is still the tough race that everyone wants to win. And this year, as last, it is the two behemoths of diesel racing, of sports car genius at the moment, Audi and Peugeot, that sit atop the field. Behind them, we have got a plethora of cars from constructors like Pescarolo, Lola and Courage. We've got the Oreca chassis, a petrol engine class of LMP1 cars, LMP2 cars and GT cars from Porsche, Ferrari, Corvette, Aston Martin, Lamborghini and the rest. 24 hours is about to start here in Le Mans for the 77th time. They will come to the line at 3 o'clock, and then the race is on, and it is unlikely in the extreme that it will be settled within much of that 24 hours.
Yeah, they timed this absolutely perfectly. Look, there's just 10 seconds to go to the actual bang on 3 o'clock. Everyone ready, everyone extremely tense. They've got to watch out on the track, though. Oil dropped by a lot of cars this morning in the Legends race, so they've got to feel their way through these opening laps, Liz.
Yeah, they will have been looking at this all the way around the recon laps and around this green flag lap, and this is what it all comes down to. We're about to throw the green flag.
Luca de Montezemolo waves away the 2007 Le Mans 24 Hours. The pole-sitting Peugeot of Frank Montagny races into the Dunlop curve. Alan McNish looked inside, looked outside. From the first corner to the last of this race, it is going to be an epic duel between Peugeot and Audi for outright honours. Down into the S's they plunge, and already the battle is on. Montagny knows without a doubt that Peugeot would love him to lead the first lap. We have our first pit call of the Cruz Schiller Lola Mazda team in trouble all weekend. But as the Peugeot and the Audi stream out onto the circuit, their teammates are behind them.
Yeah, it's Montagny, McNish, Lamy, Bouillon, Wirtz, Rockenfeller, Premat, Mucker, Turner and Bellici. And leading down in LMP2, it's Manuel Collard. He's starting for Team Essex. Jan Magnussen for the Corvette pole position car, and Jörg Bergmeister for the Flying Lizards Porsche GT2 pole setter.
And at the moment we've got Peugeot, Audi, Peugeot, 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 Audi, Audi. So it's definitely still in the mix, but it's looking like Peugeot's really taken a good run off the start.
Well, we wondered a little bit how well prepared Audi are. There's no question they have rehearsed what they're doing, but is everything running according to plan? Certainly, practice was very truncated compared to any other year. Already, though, the number 2 Audi, Rockenfeller, looking to make a move on the man in front, Alex Wirtz. Wirtz, of course, a former winner. He's been here twice, won his first ever race, 5th last year. He's looking to try and up the average a little. And in the petrol engine class, it is Stefan Mucker, the first of the Lola Aston Martins, but I saw one of the Colles Audis moving up. That'll be Christian Albers moving ahead of Christoph Tanso. So from the first moment to the last, battle is joined, and in fact it looks like the third of the Audis, number 3 Alex Premat, has dropped behind Stefan Mucker. He's in 007, right behind 008. We're on board in car number 3.
Yeah, but just look at the speed these Peugeots are carrying. They're first and second now. They're about to come third and fourth if you don't look out. Christophe Bouillon started ahead of Wirtz in the number 9 Peugeot, but he's been pushed back, and I think we're going to have 3 factory Peugeots leading by the end of this first lap.
McNish is defending hard at the moment. So Montagny and Lamy first and second. McNish holds on to third at the moment, but Wirtz is menacing, and right behind him, Jules Bouillon, that lighter blue and green Pescarolo coloured Peugeot. It's one of last year's cars updated. And we hear that Peugeot are already starting to complain that the Audi was too close to the Peugeot at the start. Well, it's supposed to be alongside it, so I'm not sure how that could be a problem.
I thought this was a motor race as well.
It is a motor race, but Peugeot seem to be spitting the dummy at every available opportunity.
Yeah.
We're a couple minutes into this race already and already having complaints between Peugeot and Audi. Could this be a very long 24 hours?
They will get a lot closer than that before the checkered flag comes out,
and
that's for certain.
I think definitely, you know, what we're seeing from Audi right now, they're not panicking about the fact that maybe the Peugeot's gone in front or they've let the odd car forward, because it is a 24-hour race, and that is what Audi does best, and you're not going to win that in the first 3 laps of the race, so it really doesn't matter. You know, by the time things settle in and, you know, the pit stops start happening, I don't think they're panicking yet.
So it's still Peugeot 1-2. They couldn't quite make it 1-2-3. McNish has really got into the groove now, and he's holding off Wirtz, Bouillon, Rockenfeller in 6th, Mucker in the first of the Lola Aston Martins in 7th.
Well, a huge roar from the crowd. I'm sure there are a lot of Peugeot flags waving, and you saw there Alex Premat looking inside Stefan Mucker's Lola Aston, trying to take that place back. This is not an endurance race anymore. It is a 24-hour sprint. The days of the hair like Stirling Moss did in 1959 for Aston Martin, setting off at a furious pace to try and break the rivals, those are gone. If you don't set off at a furious pace, Mark, you spend the entire race trying to catch up.
Yeah, and Montagne's opening lap would have been good enough for 10th on the grid, and that was from the start. I mean, how good is that?
And that's a rolling start on full tanks of fuel as well.
Full tanks of fuel and tyres that definitely would not have been warm enough after sitting on the grid. We have to keep in mind. Fair enough, when they go straight on, they're warm out of the oven. After sitting on the grid, they will have cooled off.
Alan's still resisting the pressure there from Alex Wirtz. He's just doing all he can to keep the tall Austrian off his back, but I think inevitably Alex with that coupe, and that's the crux of it. He's in a coupe. It's so much more slippery.
Well, the theory is possibly that it should be more slippery, but again, Audi with a chance to completely revise the car last year went once more for the open car. So it may not be the aerodynamics, it may just be the gearing and the grunt. Might partly be that Peugeot are playing the speed game and Audi might be playing the fuel game. We'll have to wait and see how long they go on a tank of, I was going to say gas, but obviously I mean oil.
I think we'll find that Audi is definitely pushing hard, but I don't think they're panicking. Well, that's the best thing I can say. I think Alan is pushing that Audi very hard, but he's not going to be panicking quite yet if they're
let them find their pace, and Audi will just follow, just
settle
keep
in
them in sight,
quietly work their way towards a win. I think
that's always been the plan.
Yeah.
So Franck Montagny leading for Peugeot, Petro Lamy second, and Alex Wirtz now up to third place. And already Lamy on another faster lap than Montagny's first, and indeed than Montagny is at the moment. The second place car, Peugeot number 7, is closing on the leader. It is 8, 7 and 9 in that order, with Alex Wirtz in third. And then Jean-Christophe Bouillon in fifth position, was a second behind McNish and Wirtz a lap ago. Have to wait and see what he can produce. There he is in that Pescarolo coloured Peugeot. You'll be able to identify it easily. It's got a Dayglow version of the pea green helmet that Henri Pescarolo won in 33 Le Mans starts, including 3 consecutive wins for Mazda, 1 with Graham Hill and 2 with Gerard Larousse.
So the first of the open cars here this afternoon at the moment is that little Straka Ginetta Zytek, Peter Hardman at the wheel of that 23 car running in 12th. All the cars ahead of him are coupes, Peugeots, Audis.
I would point out that the Audi is an open car.
Cool.
As well.
I'm sorry, the petrol cars.
Yes,
I meant.
indeed,
I'm sorry, the word petrol escaped me there. We haven't seen the Aston Martin Gulf cars yet, and I know millions of you are waiting just for a glimpse of these gorgeous, evocative Gulf cars.
Let's have a look again. View of the start. Oh, what? He's saying that McNish was ahead at the line because the Peugeot was so slow out of the chicane. Okay.
Obviously compromised their race, didn't it?
Well, luckily,
23 hours and 59 minutes to go.
I'm not sure there actually is a rule about the start line at Le Mans. I think if he'd been miles ahead, that might have been a problem. But since Peugeot had the lead into the first turn, I'm not sure it particularly is.
I think once the flag is dropped, go.
Can I just update you on what's happening elsewhere? LMP2, Manuel Collard is leading in the Essex Porsche Spider. That car's green this year, not blue. The reason for that is they are supporting the Michelin Green Challenge. We'll talk more about that later. That's due for the colour. Jan Magnussen in the factory Corvette. He's running in 29th, leading GT1. And GT2 Ferrari, much to Luca de Montezemolo's pleasure, is led by someone with similar name, Jaime Mello. And they've just gone ahead of Jörg Bergmeister's Lizard's Porsche.
We're hearing that there are electrical problems on one of the Aston Martins, the 66 car. That's the Jet Alliance GT1 car, so that's one less rival for Corvette to worry about in the GT1 category in the first hour. The other car that is in problem still is the Cruise Schiller Motorsport car. They pulled an all-nighter yesterday. The crew arrived here on Friday morning and have not left. So an all-nighter the night before the Le Mans 24 hours all-nighter. Jean de Portales started that car. Hideki Noda has got food poisoning and may not be fit to drive. So Jean de Portales leaving the pit lane now, sharing with Matthew Marsh. And I spoke to Matthew earlier, and the Hong Kong-based Englishman saying it might be a long race. What am I talking about? It's already a long race, and that was only at 10 this morning.
Let's just put Hideki Noda's food poisoning problem in perspective. 1959, 60 years ago, when Aston Martin won, Roy Salvadori was feeling pretty rough, but Carroll Shelby was even worse. He had dysentery. The two of them drove the whole race, both feeling very, very unwell. Still managed to take off the win.
Now we're also hearing there's a puncture for the Drayson Aston Martin. Johnny Cocker was starting that one, sharing with Paul Lord Drayson and Marino Franchitti. Lord Drayson, of course, this week in the cabinet reshuffling, Great Britain appointed not only as the Minister for Defence but also for technology and innovation. So 2 portfolios and a racing career. Liz, you would think at least one of those would be more than enough for a mere mortal.
Well, I think he'd actually like to be doing more of his racing career, if I'm being honest. But yeah.
And one of the collies out. He goes off in a big way.
Let's see if he's missed the wall.
Indianapolis.
Just missed his braking point completely then.
In fact, that's Marco Werner. In the R15.
Yep, it's Werner.
It looks as he hit the tyres hard. It looks like he has.
It's the car number 3. That is Alex Premat.
Stay in the car, Alex. You're French, you're in France.
He will be towed out of there. It is a dangerous gravel trap. It's very short. They're going to tow him out onto terra firma. Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich watches.
He's not looking happy.
Something must have broken, surely. Let's have a look.
On board with 3 into Indianapolis.
This is an extremely fast corner.
Brakes.
Well.
Okay, just as soon as he gets the apex, Liz, it goes off to his left.
Something must have gone wrong there.
He wasn't in control, was he?
No, and he didn't see... on that corner, you would have held it tight to the right to have braked in a straight line, and he went...
Now remember, this is exactly the same spot at which Dindo Capello lost the wheel leading 2 years ago, cost them the win. And we've seen a lot of Audis off here this weekend, haven't we? The Collis cars going off backwards, frontwards, everywhere.
I definitely think something must have gone wrong there, because he never would have been that far left on that corner.
As soon as he got to the apex, it just swerved out to the left on him, as if he'd changed his mind about going through the corner, and that's not something a driver of Premat's experience would do.
And he's looking quite confident, almost as if he was ready to get out, like something had broken.
Yeah,
because there wasn't a big impact with the tyre wall. The gravel did its job.
Car will survive that. Let's have a look again. Going by slower traffic.
Oh, that's just from the other angle. It's quite hard to see that, but certainly he never would have been that far to the left on that corner.
Wolfgang Ulrich has looked more concerned about things this Le Mans than I have ever seen him at any racetrack, and things are not going well. Now, they will always tow the cars out here at Indianapolis because it is such a fast approach. That turn into Indianapolis, you're coming at the fastest speed of anywhere on the circuit, and there's very little room for error, Liz, as you know, so they will always tow you out. Never get out of the car when you're at Indianapolis. It's the straightforward rule.
It's such an incredibly fast approach there. I mean, it's going to be barely a lift, I would have thought, with some of these cars. You know, you're approaching in sort of 6th gear into that, with a heavy braking down to 3rd gear to make the left-hand turn. So
he's still got his steering, hasn't he? So that's
he is checking everything, but
I wonder if something on the suspension broke, possibly, or...
Yeah, just while we're looking at that, Richard Dean in the factory, Janetta Zytek, he's in the pits at the moment, the number 6 car. That started in 15th place, is currently in 18th, but they're in the pits.
320 km/h 5th gear approach to Indianapolis in the Audi, so it is as flat out as they get around here. And 100 metres on is that gravel trap. He got round most of that right-hander, but just carrying so much speed.
Now, our colleague Chris Parsons has just pointed out to us that Tom Christensen had a jam throttle this morning when a cable got caught up in the pedal box. One just has to wonder, could anything like that have repeated itself?
Well, he's back on track at the moment, rejoining and wending his way back. Peugeot 1, 2, 3 and 5. So 4 HDI 908s right up at the top of the timesheet. So at the moment, Alain McNish lies 4th for Audi, but this is our race leader, car number 8, Frank Montagny. Now, we've already, of course, talked a little bit during qualifying about the ACO making changes, particularly to the diesel cars, to try and slow them down. They wanted a lap time no faster than 3 minutes 30. We are already lapping 3 minutes 25, just 3 laps into the race. So they have singularly failed to slow the diesels down very much in race pace. Qualifying was a lot slower than the 3 minutes 18 of last year, but the race pace barely any difference at all.
And we hear that KSM Lola is again on its way into the pit, so they're not having a good start to the race. We're only a few laps in, and they've already, this is their 2nd pit, really.
Engine cover has now come off. They have not completed a flying lap at all. Joan de Portales went out, came right back in. So yes, it's going to be a very long week. A very long weekend. It already has been. They haven't slept since Thursday night, and it doesn't look like... Well, actually, if they can get the car fixed, they won't get much sleep. If they can't get the car fixed, they may be gone to bed before supper time. Into the pits finally comes the number 3 Audi. Riding on board again, down to Indianapolis, 250 miles an hour almost. And Liz, the way it twitched away from him, no question that was not driver error.
I mean, in that particular corner, you stay right because you have to make the left. So you would stay right, brake in a straight line before making the left. So there's no way he ever would have been off to the left.
Minimal damage on the car from that biff with the wall. They will change that. They're fueling it now. It'll be up on the little jacks and wheeled back into the garage. The reason for that is in the pit lane here, you can only have 4 people touching the car. In the garage, you can have 400 if you can get them around it. So major surgery required, we're thinking. The nose is the first thing, off it comes. Now the mountings will have stood up to that bump, hopefully without too many dramas.
This is where we will see the skill of Audi and see how fast they can decipher what's happened, get the car back on the track. This is what they do best. They will have trained for this. They will have gotten ready for any eventuality that could happen. So I'm confident they'll be as fast as they can be.
I mean, we talked to Audi about how quickly they can change an engine, for instance. It's massively complex. 1 hour they could do it.
It's incredible. It truly is. So they will be ready for this.
Okay, let's get down to the pit lane, see if we can find out what happened. Our report is with Romain Dumas.
Avec nous, est-ce que vous savez ce qui s'est passé?
Can you tell us what happened?
Alexandre s'est plaint de quelque chose, mais on ne sait pas encore. C'est pour ça, à mon avis, il va examiner
Alex complained about something, wasn't sure. He's obviously not on a headset.
Il a parlé d'avoir perdu un peu le train
checking car out in the pits.
Maintenant, vu qu'il était gêné avec la Stone, on ne sait pas si c'est parce qu'il a.
Sounds like a bit of the power steering was causing problems, so not sure exactly what it is at the moment. Might have been a bit of pickup on the tyres, he's suggesting.
Pour moi, pas vraiment. C'était déjà très rapide en essai.
Peugeot quick, is that a surprise? No, not for me.
Vous avez vu en ligne droite, il passe assez facilement.
They were quick in qualifying, so we're not surprised at all. But it is a long race, 24 hours to sort it out. The race has barely started. But Romain says, no, if you stop every 3 laps, you're going to be in real trouble. We'll see how it works out with the strategy, teams and so on, with the tyres. But it's a 24-hour race. We'll have to wait and see where we are tomorrow. Well, I think, Mark Cole, you can say without question, this will not be the only car that has a problem. One of the factors of having such stiff competition for Audi and Peugeot is that mistakes happen and accidents happen and things break that they don't if you're taking it a little bit less frenetically.
And their problem with the Audi is on the power steering systems, if it is a power steering failure, is that it's buried so deep under all the front end there. Difficult to get to. It's not a part you'd even imagine you're going to have to change or look at during the course of the race.
But of course, this is the secrets of Audi's success. They don't just think about the things you're likely to need to change, they rehearse changing everything. And out the back of their 3 garages, the workshop area they've got there is exactly to the millimetre the same as the workshop area in the race shop. Everybody knows where everything is. There is no possible failure on the car that is not rehearsed. It might not be quick, but they know how to do it, and they will go and get the steering rack box if that's what it takes. Car is out, so they are content that there is not a major drama with it. But with electric power steering, you have to worry that it might just have been a little glitch that twitched him offline. It may easily have been dirt and pick up on the tyres, they're saying, but we'll have to wait and see.
It could have been the power steering actually failing mid-corner as well, mixed with a bit of pickup. The minute he's gone offline, he's gotten some pickup mixed with the power steering failing. You know, I've had that happen before in a car, and it is very difficult to hold your line when you're holding one set.
Well, just looking at the LMP2 leaders, the Team Essex Porsche. This is the Team Go Porsche, the 2 Porsche RS Spiders leading comfortably in LMP2. We'll take a quick commercial break, be back with more in just a second. Welcome back live to Le Mans, where the early minutes of the 24 hours have been anything but trouble-free. Looking there at one of our LMP2 contenders. 4th in class, Tommy Erdős, car number 25. 3rd in class, right in front, Johnny Kane, 2 long-time rivals and both very experienced Le Mans drivers. Johnny Kane in one of the speedy Subaru Lola Coupes, and behind him in the RML car that had a pit lane crash with one of the Gulf Aston Martins in this morning's warm-up and damaged its floor. That is Tommy Erdős in 4th place. Now, the 2 Porsche Spiders out front, talking to Marino Franchitti earlier on, who's with the Drayson Racing Corvette in GT2, who's saying that the LMP the LMP2 Spiders have got such a comfortable cushion here that they're not even using the brand new direct injection engine that they used towards the end of last year's American Le Mans series. So the LMP2 cars, the turbo cars particularly, been struggling, Mark, with fuel quality, and so they've had to retard the ignition of the engine, bring the power levels down to try and make sure they'll survive the 24 hours.
Yeah, now this is very interesting, isn't it? Because we're watching Tommy Erdos following Johnny Kane. Johnny's got the Judd, which is going absolutely flat out, 500 horsepower probably. Tommy is probably down to something like 475, maybe 470, but he's staying with him all the time. That is very, very impressive. So AER have obviously got on top of that fine balance between saving the engine and losing power. They've had no problem at all this time throughout qualifying, throughout the practice nights. Yeah, they go to the Le Mans series, had two failures immediately. So it's all in the luck of the draw.
Some of that might just be a testament to Tommy Erdos's driving as well, because, you know, with the turbo cars, if you need to dial them down a bit at Le Mans, you've really got to work very, very hard. I mean, when I drove a turbo car here, a lot of the time, you know, we had to take the anti-lag off and not use first gear and things like that, and you've really got to work to keep the revs up through the corners, and it's very difficult to pass things like the GT1 cars and such, because you don't have so much push out of the corners. So I think that's a testament to Tommy Erdos's driving as well.
We were just on board there for a moment with Jan Magnussen, our GT1 class leader. Teammate Ollie Gav was right behind. First scheduled-ish pit stop after 24 minutes. That is for Christian Albers, that number 15 Audi R10 TDI, one of last year's fleet of Audis run by the Eurosport factory team. And Colin Collis and the team running two cars here. That car came in from 16th position. And new team, 6 rookie drivers, and a changed R10 TDI. Without the experience of racing here at Le Mans several times, they're certainly up against it with that car. But they have been getting quicker and quicker through the shortened practice days. Yep. Now, going past the Luc Alphon Aventure Corvettes, they're 3rd and 4th in the GT1 class. Jan Claret ahead of Luc Alphon himself, the Crystal Globe winner in the second of those white cars. You saw the leaders going through. Meanwhile, GT battle. Now our GT2 leader is on the different page of the timing screen. You're looking at Flying Lizard's car there, and that is Jörg Bergmeister, car number 80. That's 5th and 6th, Gianmaria Bruni behind him. But look how close this GT1 battle, GT2 battle is. Ferrari, Porsche, Porsche, Ferrari, Porsche, Porsche. It's going to be a long and tough race for every single one of those.
I think we could see this go on all the way right to the checkered flag. I mean, this is the very best of the drivers and the best of the cars right at the front that we're seeing here, and I think they will all be pushing. This will be like a qualifying round for all of them every single lap.
Well, that is the podium there, Mark, all covered by less than half a second. Jaime Melo leads from Mark Lieb and Patrick Long in the 2 Porsches.
Let's just update you on the Christian Albers Collis Audi. It was not a routine stop. They're changing the nose on the car. There's a lot of work going on, a lot of running around. They're losing a lot of time down there.
So Jaime Melo leading in that Ferrari. That's the Risi Competizione car, engineered by Dave Beaky Sims. He shares with Pierre Caffa and Mika Salo. In second place, Mark Lieb in the 77 Felbermeyer Proton Porsche. That blue car he shares with fellow factory drivers Richard Lietz and Wolf Hensler. And the third car, also a Porsche, Pat Long, the factory driver, in that IMSA Matmut Porsche with 2 very quick privateers, Raymond Narak and Patrick Pilet. They're not going to be much off his pace, but it might be enough to make the difference with the lead group.
Now, I spoke to Patrick Long earlier today, and he said they've really had a very trouble-free week. He said they're extremely relaxed. They've had so few problems, it's almost a bit worrying. And he said they can't quite match the pace, but they're very confident in the car, and they're just going to keep ticking along, you know, banging in consistent times, and hopefully the race is going to come to them.
Yeah, this is just coming to them, isn't it? Here we go. Look at this great slipstreaming battle going on down here. But Porsche's faster in a straight line, but Jaime Melo really has the measure, doesn't he, of them today?
Yeah,
well, using the brakes to his advantage, Liz, wasn't he?
He's a fierce driver, Jamie Miller. Whenever you put him in the car, you know, I don't think he has anything but one speed, and that is absolutely flat out and completely in control.
So that's what you need here now, isn't it? I mean, there is no pussyfooting about. There are some cars, and Cruz Schiller is going to be one, where just now getting it to the end of the race is going to be a moral victory of enormous and incalculable, you know, dedication. But for anybody that's got a healthy car hoping to get on the podium, there is no 99% running. Unless the safety car's out, you're either hard on the throttle or hard on the brakes. There is nowhere in between. Don't forget, our coverage on Eurosport International finishes in a moment or two. We will be going directly over to Eurosport 2. We will switch between our two networks throughout the weekend. If you are not receiving Eurosport 2 wherever you are, you can go to the Eurosport.com website and sign up. $4.95, I think, is the cost for the weekend for Eurosport Player. We'll be broadcasting the entire race throughout the weekend on Eurosport Player. So we'll be concluding for a brief period our coverage of Le Mans here on Eurosport. We're going over to Belgium for the Dauphin Libéré, to France for the Dauphin Libéré, and at the end of today's 7th stage, we'll be returning live for an update at Le Mans. We will be on Eurosport 2 and returning to our main Eurosport coverage at 7 Central European time, 6 British time. Peugeot lead 1, 2, 3. First crack already in the Audi armoury. Much more to come.